Yo, what's up guys? Coming at you today with a tofu and spinach stir-fried rice recipe. Now, we're going to be doing this in a wok, but if you don't have access to a wok, don't worry, you don't need it. You can also do it in a large pan on your stove and that'll work just fine. This whole recipe only requires a couple ingredients, but they're kind of specialties, so you can find them at like a Asian grocery market if you got one near you, or large grocery stores like Wegmans will also carry this stuff as well. The whole thing only takes about 10 minutes to cook on the day of. However, you're going to want to make your rice about a day ahead of time and leave that in the fridge to dry out. But other than that, it's pretty simple, quick, easy, and tastes delicious. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Alright guys, we're going to get started by making our rice. Taking 2 cups of white rice here and add it to a strainer. We're then going to take that over the sink and get it rinsed. Just keep rinsing it until there's no more like white liquid coming out of the bottom of it. And as soon as you're done with that, we're going to take it over and put it into our Instant Pot. You don't have to use an Instant Pot here. You can just also make it in a rice cooker or just a regular pot on your stove. But for me, the Instant Pot is my easiest way to make rice. Once that's in there, we're going to take about 2 cups of chicken broth, doing a 1-to-1 here. 2 cups white rice, 2 cups chicken broth. Once you get your chicken broth in there, we're just going to mix that up, make sure our rice is nice and covered. Now you can also do this on a pot on your stove. Same thing, 1-to-1 ratio, but you can just put it in a pot, bring it to a boil, then reduce it to a simmer and leave it covered for about 10 minutes and that'll cook your rice pretty well as well. Once your rice is finished cooking, we're just going to take that and add it to a couple deli containers here, and then we're going to stick that in the fridge. You want to leave this at least overnight to dry out and kind of harden. It's going to make for a much better stir fry whenever you add to the pan the next day. So now a day later, we're going to start doing our stir fry. Starting out by taking some extra firm tofu, and we're going to dry that out as much as possible. I'm just putting it on a plate with some paper towels here. Then we're going to put some more paper towels on top. Try and squeeze out as much water as you can. I like to get a second plate and also press it to try and squeeze out even more. Basically, just keep doing this until you're not getting that much water out of the tofu anymore. Like I said, we're just trying to get this as dry as possible. That's going to allow us to get it much crispier whenever we're stir frying it later. So now we're just going to cut our tofu up. Cutting this into 12 different segments here. Well, I guess 24 because I do cut in half in the middle, like widthwise as well. Make sure that hand's out of the way. Don't want to cut yourself, eh? Originally, I cut this into like 9 segments, but taking the wider section, I decided that the end could just use one more cut into 12. So now we're going to get our burner on like a high heat. I do reduce this a little bit to like more of a medium high. We're going to be doing this in a wok. So as soon as your burner's on, we're getting our wok on there and heat it up and adding our oil. Now you can use a canola oil for this as well, but I am using a ginger and garlic infused stir fry oil that just adds a little bit extra flavor to it. Really, you just want something that has like a higher smoke point. So once you have your wok fully covered in oil, we're going to be letting that heat up and then stirring it around the wok to make sure there's a nice base coat of oil all the way around. And then we're going to add our tofu. Notice how I'm turning the wok away from myself here. That's to reduce the chance of getting burned by some oil splashback when the tofu goes in. Since the tofu is in there, we're going to add our first bit of soy sauce. Now we're going to be adding soy sauce in stages here because we do want to get all sides of the tofu. Nice little covering of soy sauce. And I don't show it as much here, but while you're leaving the tofu in there, you're going to want to stir it occasionally. Like I said, it's a stir fry. You're trying to get all 6 sides of the tofu crispy. So I did add a little bit of MSG there as well. And now we stir and make sure we're covering all 6 sides. Now we're going to add our first bit of minced garlic here. Cup about 3 cloves for this entire recipe. We're going to use about 1.5 cloves for the tofu and spinach, and then another 1.5 cloves when we do the rice later on. And again, this is a stir fry, so make sure you keep stirring. Time for a little bit more soy sauce. Now, we don't want the pan to dry out on us here whenever the tofu absorbs all the sauce, so periodically add more soy sauce. Now, this entire recipe is pretty much just stirring and moving, occasionally add more seasoning and more ingredients as you go. So now that the tofu is crisping up, we're going to add our first bit of spinach. Basically, every time the spinach wilts down, we're going to be adding more. This is also where we're adding our first bit of ginger. Now, I am using a fresh ginger root. One good way to peel ginger, if you're doing this yourself instead of getting like pre-peeled and pre-minced ginger, use the flat side of a spoon. It'll take the bark right off the ginger real easy, and then you can just mince it up with a knife, same as you do your garlic. So now we are adding about 2 tablespoons of this Thai-style chili sauce that I got. A chili sauce will work, just adds a little bit of spice to it. Also a little bit more MSG here. Basically every time you add fresh ingredients to the pan, you want to re-season, so we are adding some more garlic as well. Now, if you want this spicier, add another tablespoon or 2 of the chili sauce. You can also add more chili sauce whether you're doing the rice later, or even at the very end wherever you mix it all together. Just depends on how spicy you want it. And like I said before, as the spinach wilts and shrinks, go ahead and add more to the pan. Now, I won't show it in the video, but I decide at the end that I want more spinach than, more soy sauce. But I decided that I want more spinach than what I actually show, so I do wilt some spinach in a separate pan at the very end and add that to the mixture. Just depends on how much you want, though. Add it to your own desire. But remember, it does shrink down quite a bit. Alright, once your tofu is crispy and your sauce is nice and thick and your spinach is all wilted, just going to go ahead and pour that onto a separate plate here. Then we're going to wipe out our wok, try and get clean. You really just have to do it with a paper towel, try and get everything out of there, at least if your wok is well seasoned, that is. And yeah, just add a little bit of oil, and by a little, I mean quite a bit. With the amount of rice we're adding, you want to make sure all the rice has like a decent little coating of oil to it so it really fries up. Same as before, once the oil gets hot, we're going to swirl it around, make sure our wok's got a nice little coating to it. And now we're getting our rice out of the fridge from the day before, once it's hardened and dried out. Add that to the pan with the oil. Then we're going to be pressing that down with a spatula, breaking up all the clumps and just getting a little bit of oil on all of it. Same as before, this is a stir fry, so make sure you keep stirring, keep it on the high heat. Really just get a nice little fry to it going. Now we are going to add about another 1.5 cloves of garlic and ginger to taste. Really, it's all personal preference, and taste as you... And of course, more soy sauce. A little bit more MSG as well. I'll make sure the entire dish is well seasoned. And like I said before, if you want this spicier, add more chili sauce. Another 2 to 3 tablespoons will probably do you good, but if you want really spicy, go heavier. Like I said, taste as you cook, decide how you like it, and add more if you want more. So once the rice is fried, we're going to go ahead and add our tofu and spinach back in and get stirred up. Then we're done. The last step is to add about a teaspoon of sesame oil and get that mixed in. And then it's time for plating. And there you have it, tofu and spinach stir fry. Happy eating.
Now, we're going to be doing it in a wok, but if you don't have access to a wok, you don't need it. You can do it in a large pan on your stovetop. And now, what the fuck is this?